So, I'm assuming that everyone here has experienced pain before in your life, right? At some point. So, I would like you to raise your hand if the pain ever interfered with your life in any way, big or small. I can kind of see. Yeah, I see some hands. Okay. So now, I would like you to raise your hand if you felt pain after doing something, anything, for a long period of time. Okay, there's still quite a few hands. Thank you. You can put them down. So that's what I want to talk about today. When pain interferes in our life, in a sense, it's like our bodies are betraying us, especially when it keeps us from doing the things that we love. And I'm going to get a little bit vulnerable for a second and talk about my personal experience and how pain interfered with my life. So I have been playing the trumpet since the 6th grade. And I was doing everything that I could with it. I was in band, I played in a local orchestra, I did competitions, music festivals, summer music camps, and I played for hours every single day, practically 365 days a year, for over 10 years. And I really thought that it was going to be the focal point of my future, and that I was going to do it as a career. But midway through my college music degree, playing suddenly became painful and unpleasant. It was causing me pain in my head, neck, back, shoulders. Everything was hurting, and it felt like everything I had worked towards and everything that I wanted to become and thought that defined me as a person was crumbling. And so I would like you all, just for a moment, to close your eyes and envision the one thing that you feel like defines you as a person. Think about how passionate you are about it and how it makes you feel happy and whole. Now, I want you to imagine that it has been taken away from you, and you can never do it again. You can open your eyes. So that is happening to so many people in all walks of life. Their hobbies, their careers, and their passions are being ripped away from them because of physical stress. In the music community, it is extremely common. Approximately 64% of musicians get musculoskeletal disorders, which are conditions that affect the muscles, bones, and joints. And musicians are not the only ones. There are many occupational and work-related injuries, and work-related injuries have been on the rise since the invention of computers. It is a very common, very prevalent problem. So I've taken about a year break from the trumpet so far, and I want to make sure that if I start playing again, the pain does not come back. So I've realized that there are two main things that I would need to work on that are crucial for anyone with these sorts of issues: the emotional and the physical aspects. So first is my anxiety. I am a perfectionist, unfortunately. My practice sessions were basically self-hatred sessions combined with frustration, stress, and anxiety. It was a terrible combination. And I was trying to fulfill everyone's expectations of me at all times. It was an exhausting and extremely unhealthy way of living, and it is how I was living every single day. Physiologically speaking, I had bad playing habits, excess muscle tension, and physical inefficiency, which means that my body was working much harder than it needed to get the job done, all of which led to my chronic pain. So this psychophysiological struggle is unique to me, but there must be some sort of underlying commonality with all of the musicians who are suffering from physical issues. So in order to find that commonality, the best place to look is the source. Music education. How are these people being taught? Right now, in public music school, usually one person is left to be in charge of 20, 30, even up to 60 students at a time, who in middle school are learning their instruments for the very first time. And so it is very easy for bad habits to form in their playing, slip by unnoticed, and then perpetuate into physical issues down the road. So my objective then is this: How can we prevent the bad habits? Is there a teaching philosophy or training technique that could be applied to an entire classroom of students, keeping in mind that that music education will probably never get more funding, so it would need to be cost effective. And it ends up that there is something that could do this, and it is called the Alexander Technique. The Alexander Technique was invented in the 1890s by a man named Frederick Alexander. He was an Australian actor who was losing his voice when he acted on stage, to the point where he didn't think he would be able to act anymore. He went to many specialists and doctors. Nobody could help him. And so he decided to figure it out himself. So after much close observation and experimentation, he realized that it was his body alignment that was making his voice go hoarse. It was the relationship between his head, neck, and back. And the anxiety and fight or flight response that he got when he was on stage was causing his body to do very strange and unnatural, unhealthy things. And so he created the Alexander Technique, and that's a picture of him, by the way. So, the Alexander Technique is currently not being applied to younger students, and many people do not know that it exists. If any of you were to take it, you would learn how to be efficient, how to ease muscle tension, avoid muscle strain and misuse, and prevent the fight or flight response that comes from stress and anxiety. It could, for example, help you to learn how to drive a car without getting back pain, play tennis without getting tennis elbow, guitar without tendinitis, or even sitting in front of a computer for hours at a time without hurting your neck or back. I have taken some Alexander Technique lessons, and I have already learned a lot. One example is how I sit. I don't know if you all can see, but I used to sit like this. I did not think that there was anything wrong with this posture. It looks tall and straight. However, my Alexander Technique teacher told me that I was inadvertently tucking my lower back forward, which was restricting my breathing to my chest and radiating tension throughout my entire body. The correct way to sit actually involves releasing the lower back and allowing gravity to settle me into a natural and relaxed position. And believe it or not, even just one small change like that can work wonders for my physical health and well-being. But most people do not know that this exists, and they don't know preventative techniques. And so they just keep popping ibuprofen and Advil and then doing what's causing them the pain over and over and over again. And that is what leads to injuries and musculoskeletal issues. Just think, if the Alexander Technique were targeted towards a wider audience, then there would be fewer occupational and work-related injuries, fewer musicians who can't play anymore, fewer athletes whose careers are cut short, fewer people who have to miss work because of pain. People forget to look at the source and focus on prevention. For music education, the teachers and educators should be encouraged to bring it into the classroom with the goal of preventing future physical ailments and drastically decreasing the staggering percentage of suffering musicians. This is a universal issue that many of us have dealt with or will deal with at some point in our lives. My wish for all of you is that you don't ever have to give up something that you love because of pain. We need to implement preventative techniques into the workplace, music education, and our daily lives. Thank you very much.